Hello and welcome. My name is Jason. I'm the CEO of Stingray's Bookkeeping. My website is stingraysbookkeeping.com. I have a YouTube channel, Professor Stingray's Small Business Bookkeeping Made Easy. Earning a degree in accounting was more difficult to me due to my post-concussion syndrome issues. I was encouraged to take a long sabbatical, and I wrote my own autobiography, The Journey of Two Angels. It was written in a format of one extremely long creative writing session that lasted 7 months. I created a website, journeyoftwoangels.com. The full journal as of 2025 is unpublished. I'm using the autobiography as source material. I'm creating several topic-specific sub-books under the series title of Two Angels. Both Two Angels on my website and Two Angels on Amazon Kindle. In 2022, I sat down and wrote my autobiography. I spent 7 months writing it. One of the topics I covered was concussions and post-concussion syndrome. And this video is going to cover the harsh reality of my post-concussion syndrome. This is a look at the writer and author of my book and the one making the content for the YouTube videos. When I talk about concussions, this is about first person. I'm going to be talking about concussions, TBIs, post-concussion syndrome, and CTE on this channel. When I discuss my Two Angels books on concussions, it's not because I am a doctor. It's not because I am someone who is researching this topic to create YouTube videos. This is a first person, my perspective. My last career was being an armed security officer. I wore a badge, a gun, and a uniform for 15 years and walked the streets at night to keep people safe. I was trained in a strictly no weapon, hand to hand combat version of karate called Shotokan, which originated in Okinawa. Shotokan, I was told, means empty hand. I used to be in, for the athletes watching this, I have snow skied, water skied, scuba dived, racquetball. I used to bike ride on a Tour de France style bike. I was a top notch athlete. This is me walking today. 17 years post concussion, just walking back to my desk in my front door to my room and back 3 times. I have serious balance issues. The world seems off balance, and I seem like I'm spinning. I sustained a brain-scrambling concussion on September 11, 2008, my second major one of my lifetime. My comment to the ER nurse that night was, "Do you know the date?" She asked me if I knew the date, and I go, "Yeah, I know the irony." I will have issues talking during my videos. I have dyslexia and 2 brain injuries, so pronouncing some words and names is extremely difficult, or a lot of times impossible. I just skip over it. It takes a lot of energy just to be able to talk and tell my story, let alone be perfectionist. Now, my accident was in 2008. I spent the first 5 years in a brain fog. So when I discuss the topic of concussion, this comes from a first-hand knowledge. The journey to recover and regain part of my life back is like climbing Mount Everest without oxygen. Extremely difficult. While spending 7 months writing my own autobiography, I had several post-concussion syndrome episodes. Being a writer, these episodes occurred. I stayed writing, but I changed the topic to describing the episode as it happens. The following is an example of one of those brain episodes. I was in the middle of writing something, and all of a sudden, my spelling, I couldn't spell, and I was making nonsense. While writing about post-concussion syndrome and CTE, I was talking about having an episode, and while writing about it, I triggered one. An episode happened while writing about having an episode. Now, this is from the book. Other times, standing at the bus stop, waiting for the bus, usually an easy task. During an episode when the bus pulls up and stops right in front of me, that act of stepping onto the bus, swiping a ticket, then sitting down seemed like the most difficult task, requiring every single ounce of brain power to force these simple actions. I almost needed the bus driver to help me on the bus and to swipe my ticket for me. This is where my episode started, and you can see how fast it went wonko on me. Writing this, I can still feel how hard the struggle gets. Feeling a little anxiety attack currently, feel a little drained reliving that moment. I have post-traumatic stress, and I was reliving the anxiety of when the episode happened. Seriously taking a break now, feeling anxiety, breathing heavier. This is a real unhonest. Now it's causing dizzy spell, hard to focus, vision shaking. Now I start misspelling stuff. This is causing a website. I'm now stumbling and falling against the wall. This all happened within 5 minutes. Now 10 minutes in, hearing loud ringing in both ears, vision is whitish and shaking. Blurry seeing screen, extreme difficulty spelling words. The ringing in my ears is growing, curling overpowering sound, earphones, listening to music. The ringing is much louder. Now, I'm in full episode trying to put this down. I'm also split between autocorrecting for easy clarity to read or leaving the misspelling in to show I can't spell all of a sudden. So I'm split between using autocorrect versus showing how difficult spelling has become. This is part is written during the full episode. Wow is all I can think. This is a strong, overpowering rush of feeling. Not shaking my head, actually. This is real, having an episode that's lasted 35 minutes. Okay, then I went and turned everything off, turned my lights off. I crawled in bed and passed out for about 3 hours. I had no choice. My brain shut down and I had to go pass out for a few hours. Now, when I woke up, while it was still fresh in my brain, I went back and started writing about it. Now, here's an explanation of what just happened. Now, picking up with writing this, I can still feel how hard the struggle gets, feeling a little extreme anxiety currently. Now, here's where I'm giving commentary. Accidentally triggering a real anxiety attack. It felt minor at first. And back to what I was writing. Seriously, taking a break, feeling anxiety, breathing heavily. It was hitting me harder than I thought it was. And one of the signs of an episode is heavy breathing, feeling I am on a mountaintop, breathing thin air, and can't catch my breath. Now I go back and reevaluate play by play what I wrote during the episode. Now it's causing dizzy spell, hard to focus, vision shaking. From my perspective, the laptop screen was shaking, making seeing the words on screen more difficult. Think of reading a book while riding in a car on a rough road. This is causing an episode. Very bad spelling. I wrote to causing episode. I could barely even write it. I am stumbling and falling against the wall. I had gotten up to walk to get the freezer to get a cold Mountain Dew because I was thirsty. Give me a minute break. And I fell against the wall coming back. I luckily did not hit the ground. And this all happened within 5 minutes. Very sudden, going from being good, feeling all right, to feeling drunk in a flash. Now, around 10 minutes in, the ringing in both ears start. I have Meniere's disease in both ears, or tinnitus. It's a 10,000 to 12,000 megahertz sound. It's deafening. It can get really loud. So the ringing started in both ears. I was listening to Five Finger Death Punch through my headphones. The ringing grew louder and louder until I could barely hear the music. I had it pretty loud. It's Five Finger Death Punch, and I could barely hear their sound over this high pitched tone that's saying something. This loud ringing shorts out the brain being able to focus. It gets deafening loud, shutting down normal thoughts. Now, I read caption. I was trying to write what it was like during the episode. I was split between showing how bad the spelling became versus using autocorrect for easier readability. The only thing I could say was, wow, this is a strong, overpowering wash of feeling. My princess asked about my head shaking, jerking to one side really hard, and an involuntary action that only happens during episodes. This time my head did not shake or jerk. I felt it in the exact part I wrote during episodes. To study and compare how my brain just went wonko. I couldn't spell. I couldn't do much of anything. The Two Angels, My Life Living with CTE, is a story everyone should read. It's a first person view of what it's like living with CTE, punch drunk syndrome, post-concussion syndrome. My Two Angels book, Unheard Voices, by having a unique perspective on concussions, I see the athletes as heroes in the fight of CTE, and I was very compelled to write about these athletes. I feel like I just had to. The topic of my life living with CTE should and will be studied, and hopefully this will help others better understand what it's like inside the mind with such an injury. Now, I state I have CTE. I have been diagnosed by a doctor with it. Even if I don't, so don't ridicule me for saying this, for stating I have CTE. This will help in the fight to understand brain injuries. It's one good look inside post-concussion syndrome and what it's like living with what changes after a head injury. This is a first-person perspective that everyone should read. My Life Living with CTE. Two Angels, My Life Living with CTE. I cover TBI, post-concussion syndrome, and CTE. This is a first-person account of my healing from a concussion in 2008 that was a brain scrambling. I have severe post-concussion syndrome, and I go into great detail. Chapter 1 is the CTE medical terminology. Chapter 2 is I was learning how my brain works. I'm dyslexic, so I was taught how my brain learns and stuff like that. Chapter 3 is my two major concussions, about the accidents and what happened. Chapter 4 is my life coping with CTE the first few years after the concussion and the healing. Chapter 5 was my healing injuries through brain therapy. I've been doing a lot of work the last 5 years, and I think that's helped my brain heal. Chapter 6 is my abilities lost due to the concussion TBI. I go through exactly what has changed. Because since I know my brain so well, I know what I lost. Chapter 7 is a phoenix rising from the ashes. I lost my life. I lost my career from the last concussion, and I'm trying to rebuild something out of it. I could not think of a better metaphor than a phoenix rising from the ashes. Two Angels, the Unheard Voices of CTE. These are 8 athletes that fell, gave their lives for CTE research. Their deaths were seen as suicides for depression or money woes, and their real reason, their voice is unheard. The real reason was for CTE research. These 8 athletes were our heroes. We cheered them on Sundays or on Saturday nights for the wrestling. They were our heroes on the field. They were our pillars of the community off the field. I think they were heroes leading the research in CTE. And I wanted to give their voices a lasting voice so they can be heard through many years. Both of my books, my 2 sub books, My Life Living CTE, as well as Unheard Voices, are on my website, Journey of Two Angels, as well as Amazon Kindle.